Farm Small, Farm Smart Daily is part of the Modern Grower Podcast Network. Check out some of our other shows like Carrot Cash Flow, the Growing Microgreens Podcast, and Farm Small, Farm Smart. Learn more about the shows using the link below.
Just from a germination standpoint, I say that's probably been the biggest difference, is to be able to see all right, well, yeah, we'll just stick with the lacinato kale metaphor here. It's do a whole tray of lacinato or something like a black magic, which technically, it's a hybrid, but something like that from High Mowing, and then do something else from the hardware store. And it's night and day. It's totally different. And even though those might be the same variety, why is better seed stock from, not that those companies aren't reputable, but from a highly reputable company that is dedicated their whole business to just producing the highest quality? Why does that make so much of a difference?
Yeah, there's a lot of points to make here. I think the first thing that kind of comes to mind for me is that the USDA has federal minimums that seeds need to hit for germination standards, across the board. So my interpretation of that is, if you're selling seed, then the seed that you sell needs to hit this federal minimum. I can't speak for other companies, but High Mowing's minimum is higher than the federal minimum. So let's take an example that I don't really know the answer to, but let's say that the minimum for carrots is, 70% or something like that. We will have seed lots come in anywhere between 72 and 98%. And if it's hitting our min, which is 76, then it's fine, and we'll sell it. If it's coming in lower, then we'll decide how we want to handle that. And most times we decide that we don't want to offer it, and we won't sell it. So that's I think that's a different method than a lot of folks, but I can't really speak to how other people do it, as I've never worked for any other seed company before. But that has definitely stood out to me over the years. On top of that, over the past 10 years, High Mowing has really upped its game in terms of quality control. So that can mean anywhere from freezing seed that comes in, things like helots that tend to have weevils in them. We'll freeze them for, usually it's about 21 days, so almost a month, in these massive freezers. And that will improve the germination rate over time and reduce the damage. And then we have a lot of quality control tools, like seed tables that will basically slew off seed that is not viable and that doesn't have the preferred weight for a specific crop type, and then it will just sort of get rid of that seed. And so that will also increase our overall germination for the seed that we have available. And I think it's worth saying that this is another reason why seed availability and inventory fluctuates annually and almost for every crop, is that if you think about it in this way, if a seed grower is producing a seed lot and they think that they're going to get 60 pounds of this seed, but then, there's a flood and half of their field's flood, then they lose half of that crop and they only have 30 pounds of that seed. They send us their 30 pounds, and by the time it gets cleaned and we clean up that germination and make sure that it's up to our standards, then we have 15 pounds of that lot. So this variety that we thought was originally going to be 60 pounds is now 15. And 1,000 people have ordered
Yeah.
20 pounds of it. And so that's why we have out of stock notices and back order dates and things that are pretty confusing to a lot of people and really don't tend to exist in many other industries, to be frank. There are definitely back ordered items, but they're often not relying on annual cycles, or maybe
Mhm.
they are, and I'm just not, tuned into that.
But and also, there's the reality of it is that it's an agricultural product. It's not really much different than the vegetables that we take to market at the end of the day. In some years you have, a good summer squash year, and other years you don't. Whether it's, not even just like something like a flood that takes out, but maybe you just have too much rain or not enough rain or so, or you get the first snow that you've had in 11 years, like we're having right now, and it's, wreaking havoc on some of our winter greens that normally would be like jamming and they've just stopped growing. So yeah, at the end of the day, it's still a agricultural product that is at the mercy of Mother Nature and the land and all those sort of things.
Right.
Um,
And hopefully that really cold snap that you are experiencing will make for a much smoother spring for you
yeah,
because you'll have, like, less pests.
Did you know if you're a farmer, you can get your low tunnels paid for by the NRCS? Through a recently launched government program, farmers can get between $4 and $5 per square foot in reimbursement towards a Quick Hoops low tunnel system. That's free money to help increase production on your farm. Learn more about Quick Hoops and the NRCS program at shop.moderngrower.co or using the link below.